What made you want to do this film?
I was very drawn to the character of Frances Lacy. I admire her pride and I admire her courage. It's not the courage of an extraordinary event, an act of heroism, but it's the courage of day after day, moment by moment, sticking by her family and doing the best she can for her kids. And that's hard. I think that takes a lot of courage and a lot of stamina.
There are millions of women all over the world who are the unsung heroes like this Frances Lacy, aren't they?
I believe so. I believe they're out there.
It was like watching science fiction in a way, though, because it was such a normal, loving, close family. They had hard times, but you almost miss that, seeing what goes on in our families today.
Yeah. The film is set in the late 60s, and the kids do seem different from kids nowadays because they have different issues, I guess, to face nowadays than they do during the time of the film. It was more the struggle to overcome their own poverty, their own lack of education, their own inability to have a father, all those kinds of issues, I think very basic issues that faced them during the course of the film.
Did you have a pretty normal childhood?
Boringly so, very normal. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and the only thing that was a little strange about my family was that I was born very late in life to my folks. My dad was born in 1900, my mom was in 1907, so in a way it was like having grandparents during the 60s, so that was a bit stressful on both sides.
It was so neat watching things like the kids looking at their first television set in the window and things like that. Do you remember such prehistoric events as the early days of television?
You bet. I remember when we got our first TV set, and I remember watching when they opened Disneyland. That was a big event, and the men walk on the moon, and a lot of old TV shows I used to watch.
It's just hard to relate, to my children, even to, they've just grown up with all this stuff, and it's just there. And it makes us, I feel like a dinosaur. I feel like Jurassic Park sometimes when these kids, discipline is very important in a family, and it's always a hard thing to decide how to discipline or whatever. This lady, where was she getting her strength from and her ideas, you think?
Well, I think as far as her discipline goes, I think Frances has some wrong ideas about it, and I think she got it from probably her background and certainly from her husband, and I think that's one of the journeys that she takes in the picture, is she realizes that maybe this isn't the way to discipline her children, but I think she's frightened. I think she's afraid that if she's not tough with them, that life will be tougher and knock them down.
Yeah. There certainly was a school of thought for that. I remember the belt in my house. I can still hear that sound of it going through the loops. It's just some things you don't forget.
Yeah, it's true.
And I remember the switch. They didn't have any trees.
I did. I rember the switch. Definitely.
Get your legs.
That's right.
And it was worse when you had to pull your own switch. I always thought that was kind of, I'm going to have to go out here and do my own battle. It's like getting the bullet for the gun to shoot me with or something.
It's true. It's true.
I think that's a Southern thing, though, isn't it, switches?
Yeah, I think it must be. I don't know, not having grown up in the North, but it was. There was always a switch nearby growing, wasn't there?
Certainly was in my house. What about you would you change if you could? There's one thing about Kathy Bates that just drives your husband and drives everybody crazy that you would change if you could.
That I would change if I could? I think I agonize about things too much. I think I'm too much of a perfectionist. I think that's what I would change. I think I need to relax and enjoy life more instead of trying to make it better all the time.
And how does that manifest itself where someone would see?
Well, I don't know if you would really see it. I think he sees it because we're home together all the time, but I think in terms of my work, I'm not as satisfied with it as I probably should be, and I'm always wanting to make it better and perfect things, and it makes for less energy and more angst in your life.
Was it kind of neat playing somebody who's so normal?
Yeah.
In this movie compared to some of the things you've had to pull out?
It really was. It really was. It was delightful not to have to worry about some kind of weird character aberration, just to play a woman who was very single-minded about taking care of her family.
Was there ever a time after Misery, since you got so much fame doing that and did so well, that you started getting those kind of parts, or that one just, the people looked at that as one story and let you go and didn't try to typecast you?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I still got some that I was just horrified to get in the mail, and I thought, God, no, I don't want to think about this anymore.
I saw you in this film, oh no, what's she going to do to these children? But no, it's a hope. Tell me about this little sweet pie. Pull out if you could. I've seen you before.
This is Pip.
Pip?
Yes, he's my 14-year-old Yorkie, and he's getting very old, and so we try to take him with us as much as we possibly can.
Pip's a pretty sweet dog, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very dear. We've had him from the time he was a puppy, and he used to sit backstage at the theater with me. And I did a play in New York years ago where I played a woman who committed suicide. The play took an hour and a half. There was no intermission, and he'd sit upstairs with the costume woman. And then when the shot rang out at the end of the play, he woke up and got all excited, and it was time to go home. He was the only one that was happy when the shot rang out.
Does Pip fly?
He flies. Yeah.
Where does he fly?
He flies where to,
I mean,
or
like,
where in? He
is
goes.
He, put, go in a little
he
box?
goes in a little box under the seat.
Under
in
the
front
seat,
of me.
though.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you didn't have to fly that.
Oh no, he's too little to do that.
He's too little to fly that. All right. Well, Pip, nice meeting you again. Nice
Thanks.
seeing you. He's looking for mommy. Nice seeing you too.
You too.
Okay. Thank you. Did you get a good shot of Pip while we were doing?
Petey.
Good. That's fine. That's good. Yeah. So you